Welcome to the Science of Gratitude podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Valerie Mukanga, and each week we'll explore how gratitude transforms our lives through powerful stories and insights. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in once again to the Science of Gratitude podcast. I'm grateful for you. In fact, I just wanted to let you know that I'm very grateful that you are tuning in, that you're getting inspired, that you're commenting, that you're liking, that you're sharing the episodes, and thank you so much again. So today I have a great, she's a friend guest for you. She's Dr. Toyosi Onwuemene. I really love this dear woman. She's really a good friend, and I'm grateful for you, Doc. So anyway, I want to ask you to please introduce yourself to the audience.
First of all, Valerie, I want to say thank you so much for having me. I am thankful for you. I think that in life, it's just it's good fortune to be able to have good friends or people that you can count on and have like-minded conversations. So I'm grateful for you and thank you for having me. I am Dr. Toyosi Onwuemene. I am a hematologist. I specialize in blood disorders, and I am also an academic physician and scientist. So I help clinicians move forward in their academic career, especially as it relates to their research and productivity. And I am excited to be here today because there's so much to be grateful for, so much to be thankful for, and I look forward to our discussion.
Wonderful. I do want to add a few things because she was going to try to be modest. Dr. Toyosi, she's a writer. She has several books out there. She's a podcaster. She has several podcasts out there. Eventually, maybe she'll talk to us about that. But I just wanted to let you know that she's wonderful. She has a lot on her plate, but the fact that she actually said yes to coming on this podcast to bless us is definitely something I'm thankful for. So, Doctor, would you please dive into your story, actually? What's your gratefulness?
Sure. So one of the stories I love to tell, many stories that I have, is how I started off in academic medicine, really wide-eyed and just full of joy and wanting to give back and into the academic community and also do research. And I didn't get the job I wanted initially. What I ended up having was doing more clinical work, which I enjoy seeing patients, and I wanted to be able to do more than that. And so I was very unhappy with my experience, and I continued to work hard to try to make the research work out of it. And I eventually was able to be successful doing that. But I think one of the things that's most important is I realized that it wasn't my environment that was limiting me, it was me. And having a different perspective and a different frame of mind was helpful. Being thankful for the things I had and being thankful for the opportunities that started opening up to me helped me to see more opportunities as they opened up as well. As you said, I do a lot more than just my work as an academic researcher. I have opportunities to write and to podcast and to share scripture through another podcast. So I'm grateful for all the opportunities I have.
Wonderful. So how do you actually define gratitude in your own terms? Would you know everyone that Dr. Toyosi, one of her books is actually on gratitude. So just gonna sort of try to drill it.
Called The Miracle of Gratitude. That's right. The
The
Miracle of
miracle of
Gratitude.
gratitude. Wonderful.
Gratitude, gosh, so I think there are definitely formal definitions of gratitude. I think what it is having a thankful heart. It's different from saying thank you, because you can say thank you without feeling thankful, but it's really the heart of being thankful, of saying thank you, but going beyond just what your mouth is saying to really your heart saying thank you.
What actually inspired you to come up with the miracle of gratitude?
It's a great story, and I write about it in the introduction of my book. It's my pastor invited me to give a sermon for Thanksgiving. So it was the weekend following Thanksgiving, and he was going to be out of town, and he asked if I would be available to give a sermon. And I just knew that I wasn't the right person to do it. But I said yes anyway, because my pastor is not the kind of person you say no to. And it's it's just not. But so over Thanksgiving, that year we went to Tennessee, and we were on a farm. And about 16 to 18 of us family members gathered. And over that week of Thanksgiving, really, sermons formed in my heart. and I presented the sermon. It was about 30 minutes long. And I
Mm.
realized that there was so much more I wanted to say that I didn't actually say, because 30 minutes is a short period of time. For
It
how much I
is.
prepared, there was so much to say. And I realized that it was an opportunity to write a book, to put everything that I wanted to say in book
Oh,
format. And that's where the Miracle of Gratitude came from.
do you even remember what your sermon was about?
That it's the book. The book is the sermon, except that
I see.
when you go to translate a sermon into a book, you find out that a sermon is not a book.
Right,
But
right.
that essentially was the fodder, the substance for out of which the book came.
So can you walk us through like a few things that you have actually discussed in the miracle of gratitude? Why do you even call it a miracle?
Thank you for asking that question. It's what happens when we give thanks. I think one of the
Mm,
stories I want to share is from the Bible, and
hmm.
where Jesus is going to feed hungry people. And there are at
Yes.
least 5,000 of them. We think a
Hmm.
lot more. And the first
Right.
thing he did to the bread that wasn't enough was he said thank you.
Mm,
He gave thanks for it. And in giving
mm,
thanks for the bread that wasn't enough, all of a sudden it multiplied. So I
right.
think that is the miracle of gratitude, that when we are focused on being thankful, especially because
Yes.
we always have challenges, but when we're overlooking the challenges to focus on what we are thankful for, what we're doing is we're multiplying that. We're multiplying what we're grateful for. And it's a miracle. It's a miracle because if
Yeah.
you think about your attitude and how it changes when you stop looking at all the challenges and you start looking at the things you're thankful for, changes your
Mm.
attitude, it changes your outlook, and honestly it multiplies the thing you're thankful for. So it is a miracle for sure.
You know what? Like, I mean, I've heard and I've read that story time and time again, but I never, well, I know that Jesus gave thanks, right? And I know that it was miraculous as well, but I never kind of like tied in the fact that the giving thanks was the miracle, or rather was what led to the miracle. Like, I never really put that connection just like that. So thank you for pinpointing that, because yes, definitely gratefulness can actually induce miracles.
Yes. So in the book, I talk about three levels of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Level zero is a level zero. Level zero is complaining. And that actually should be like level negative 75 or something, because complaining takes away from you. So
Yes.
in the story, in the book, I talk about the story of the spies who were sent out to spy out the land, and 10 of them
Yes.
had a bad report. And what happened is not only did their complaining affect them, but it also
Mm-hmm.
affected an entire congregation of over 1 million people, such that none of them entered the land that they had wanted to enter.
Over.
Complaining is so ugly, it actually takes away from you. So that's level zero, and a level that nobody should ever be at.
Mm-hmm.
Level one is where you're thankful for what you can see. Anybody can be thankful for what, yeah. I mean, actually, level one is where you're minimally thankful. Level one is where you're minimally thankful, where you literally live mostly a life of not seeing good. And then very
Mm-hmm.
grudgingly, you're like, oh yeah, thank you for that. That kind
Yeah.
of like thankful with an attitude.
Okay.
That's level one. It's like bare minimum. Level two is where most of us should be at, which is where you're like, oh, okay, I have a new computer. Okay, I'm thankful for that. I
Mm-hmm.
graduated from school. I'm thankful for that. I was able to
Mm-hmm.
go to work today and I was successful. I'm thankful for that. That's
Mm-hmm.
being thankful for what you can see. But level three, that's the level that we should all be at. Level three is where you're thankful even when you can't see it yet. That's the
Mm-hmm.
level of the miraculous, because what you're saying is you're going beyond what you can see to the person who
Yes.
creates what's not yet seen.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's a place of the miraculous, because now you've left it in the hand of the one who, I mean, anything is possible. Anything is possible when you say, you
Right.
know what, I can't see it, but God, you're amazing. Everything is
Yes.
possible. Yeah.
My goodness. Listen, and so I think actually now I see that Jesus was operating. It was the same miracle that you were talking about, the multiplication of bread. He was actually operating at that level three because he was going beyond what he could see into the possible of
Yeah.
what could happen,
Yes.
and then did happen. I love it. Don't go in level
Don't
zero
go level
minus
zero.
75.
It'll hurt everybody. Don't do it. Yeah, and I
Complain.
think I think it's important to talk about level zero, because we live in a culture where people vent and they're like, it's okay to vent. I don't know if it's okay to vent, because the
Mm,
truth is it's like a piece of paper. There's the good, there's one side and there's the other side. And if you're saying there's something to complain about, well, if you turn over the sheet of paper, there's something to be thankful for. So it's like, which side are you turning over? And
Wow.
we choose. And so we can choose to focus on the thing that's not working. And it's not that we're wrong, but there's the other side that we're not acknowledging, the thing that is working. Yeah.
What an analogy. It's a paper. Either you're zero or level one or level two of three. Better to be operating at least at two.
At least at two. Yes.
Better yet at three than zero. Oh. But you know what I really liked about what you said is just reminding us once again, about, that spy situation, the spies who actually ended up by their negativity, by their disbelief, by their complaints, fulfilling the fate of about 1 million people, because sometimes we don't really see it that way. We don't really see it that way. And I think that not too long ago, in fact, I was thinking about that situation about the spies versus, Caleb and Joshua, who actually saw into the positive of the experience of going to spy out the land. We know their names, but we know none of those other spies. No, we don't know any of them. We don't know their names. We don't know what they look like. We don't know no, we just know them as those 10 spies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they took so many people down with them. And I think that's
Yeah.
the thing about complaining. What I realized, and it's been a growing realization over time, is that it is too risky to even be around people complaining. It's too risky because they potentially are going to suck you in. Really what they're doing is they're declaring a prophecy that's being fulfilled, right? They said we're going to die here, and that's exactly what happened. And Caleb and
Exactly.
Joshua said, well, we're not going to die, and that's exactly what happened. Just realizing how powerful we are in declaring what will and will not be based on our words. That's really where it
My
is.
goodness. Which is another sermon or so many of
It
them.
is. That's another one.
Definitely. So tell me, could you recall like a time when you had people operating at that level zero of gratitude? And did that like lead you to reap some negative benefits?
Yeah, I would say that I honestly have always loved operating at level zero before I understood how dangerous it was. Actually, one of the people that clued me into the wrongness of level zero was my husband, but it took me a long time. When I first met him, he wouldn't complain about anything. He's just not a complainer. And
Wow.
when you're a complainer, you don't like it when other people don't complain because you know that you're kind of taking a lot of airtime. But if the other person would just complain and you feel better, then you guys can have a competition. It's like one person's like, "Oh, do you know what happened to me?" And then you can one up them, and then they one up you, and you
Like,
keep going
no.
and escalating the badness. Yeah, so my husband would never play that game with me. So but if ever he would say something negative, I would feel good. I'd be like, yes, yes, yes. But it took me a
Wow.
long time then to start to realize that, wow, this doesn't help me because, and that's what I realized. I was in a conversation a few days ago as an example, and then the person was telling me it's okay to complain. I said no, because it changes my attitude. I get angry and then I can't function well. I said it doesn't serve me. Like if I think about it, the more I complain about something, the angrier I get, the less settled I am, the more distracted I am. If you think about it, it's not a productive space. I
Wow.
definitely have lived in that land for a long time because I'm very passionate about what I'm passionate about. And now I realize
Yes.
I need to not do that. But yes, so I don't know if it's not an exact story, but just I'm the person who loves to complain, and I'm grateful that I'm being delivered.
Thank you. Thank you for even letting our audience know that you were that person. Many people don't want to portray themselves like in a negative light. So that you would do that and be transparent, that's a blessing. Thank you so much. So that leads me to ask you now, how did you overcome that? What are some action steps that you took in order to go from being a complainer to being a more grateful person?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. One of the most important to me was staying away from people complaining. That was most important to me.
Okay.
And because of the social influence, as I said, I love complaining. I haven't stopped loving complaining. I just realize it's bad now and I move far away from it. But it still feels good. It goes down to the body and it's just like, ooh, it's like good gossip. Terrible for you, but feels good, you know? So
Yeah.
I still like it. And I know that is my weakness. And for that reason, I'm intentional about who I can be around and what conversations I can be part of. So that as soon as I know that with this person I start complaining, I start to organize my schedule such that we're not around each other very much. And that's been very helpful to me, especially during the COVID pandemic. There were
Mm-hmm.
certain colleagues, especially, that we used to gather and complain,
Yes.
moved away. And that helped me so much. And, being at home away from all the complainers, like, I changed. So when it got
Mm-hmm.
time to coming back together again, I recognized that if I come back to this group, if I come back to this environment,
Yes.
I'm going to go right back. So I started to avoid those environments. So that's been one major and important breakthrough for me. And I certainly pray about it too, because it's hard when you meet people and you already have a habit of doing a certain thing. It's likely that everyone wants to go back to what you always used to do. So
Right.
it's harder than it seems. But yes, that's what I do. And I pray about it too. The second most important thing is I have a gratitude practice. I think I would call it gratitude now, where at the end of every day or at the beginning of every morning, I think back to the last 24 hours and I say, what am I thankful for? And the more I mean, it's hard to find because the day goes by so quickly, and the things
It
that
does.
stick in my mind are the things that didn't work as well. But when I
Yeah.
finally settle and start writing, gosh,
Uh-huh.
it starts pouring out. I'm like, oh, and this happened and that happened. And it's all the small things that add up to like a beautiful day. And I can stop and say, wow, this day was really amazing.
I see. Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So you try to stay away from people who want to go down that spiral and then pray about it. And you actually practice your gratitude, with a journal where you write down what you're grateful for.
Yes.
Wow. I like that. So now I know that like you make the effort to not find yourself in certain environment or like with certain people who you know to be complainers. But what then happens is if you have done that, but then you still find yourself in that environment, do you like step away or do you switch the subject or does it depend?
It's a great question. I would say that I am more conscious of it now than I used to be, so that sometimes the conversation will start tending towards that, and I'll start thinking, oh,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it depends on the situation. I don't ever want to be that person who shuts people down, but
Uh-huh.
I also want to be careful because I know it's not going to go to a good place. So most of the time, I think I
Yeah.
will kind of like tactfully change the conversation. Tactfully.
Yeah.
Yes. And to be honest, when I do that, it's good for me and it's good for
Mhm.
them too, because whenever you focus on mostly the things you complain about are the things you're not in control of. Somebody else did something or somebody shot something off, like you're not in charge. And that's part of why
Right.
it's so frustrating. So what I try to
Yeah.
do is transition the conversation towards what I can do. For example, in academic medicine right now, we're experiencing a lot of challenges with regards to funding. And I'm not in control of whether people release money for me to do grants or not, but I am in
Right.
control of what work I do now and how I mentor the people I'm working with, what other productivity we can have. So it's like, okay, well, we don't have funded research now, but what data do we have to analyze? What can we do? And that empowers you and leads you away from this happened and oh, that happened, to be like, okay, well, I can do something about this. It's empowering. So that's what I try to do, tactfully change the conversation so that we're now more focused on the opportunity rather than the challenge.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's really good. Really, really good. I never really thought that, in the Science of Gratitude podcast, we would be speaking about complaining, which is the opposite of gratitude. But, this is so good because it made me really realize something. The 1 million deal really still stands up to me. And that's why I keep coming back to it. And I really like that we actually talked about this because, now I'm going to make the effort, of realizing, no, it's not good to complain, so, cause sometimes, oh no, I'm just venting when there's like some difficult situation. Let's just think about positive things. Yes, of course you can think about, the hard things and what to do about it, analyze it and, to see what you can, extract out of it and all that. But just to go down a spiral, definitely not a good thing. And so that was really good for me to hear that from you. And just to be very, very intentional as far as, switching subjects. I have found myself doing that actually, especially when I am in control or if I'm in a position of leadership, I would say, then, I'm like, well, no, guys, let's not talk about, let's talk about something else.
Mm.
But then, to know, but and not like to hurt anyone's feelings or anything, but just making them understand that, it's best to do some work or whatever versus, as you say, trying to talk about something we can't change anyway, people's character flaws or whatever that is. But then again, to be among your peers or to be among people that you're actually following, I say people who are leading you or something, and we are in that environment, it is still possible to, as you said, tactfully change the conversation and to make it more productive so that, instead of like pointing fingers and be like, how could you, how dare you, why would you complain? And make people feel small, but like switching the subject in a way where they actually get their juices flowing in a positive way again.
Yeah, and I think one thing that you could even do, maybe occasionally I've done this, is call it out for yourself. Hey guys, I am working really hard on not complaining because it puts me in a bad place. I hope it's okay if
Oh,
we change the subject. So it's not like, oh, you guys are terrible, you're complaining. It's like, look, this is a weakness. I'm really working on it. Can you help
yeah.
me by allowing us to do something different?
Wow. What a powerful point. Yes, because most people would want to help.
Yes.
And most people would not want you to be in a position where you now feel bad about yourself,
Yeah.
especially because the whole group has fostered an environment that leads you to go down the drain.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. So now let me ask you this. I know that you have several podcasts, going on. Can you talk to us about, I'd like to know why do you have so many? What do you discuss? And then how do you even manage your time to do all that?
That's a great question. So I will say, to give full disclosure, so I do have 3 podcasts. One of them is active right now, and the other 2 right now are in hiatus status. So the
Gotcha.
reason is, for the third one that's active, I'm doing it's a daily Bible reading, Genesis through Revelation, and it's about 4 to 5 chapters a day. And so I'm doing a daily reading, but it's Monday to Friday, so I'm not doing Saturday or Sunday. And
Okay.
that has taken a lot of my time, along with some other projects that I've picked up, such that I put the other 2 on the back burner while I finish this. It is a podcast for me. It's called 365 Days of Meditation in Scripture. And I actually, if you go back a year ago, we just would have one scripture set to music over and over again just to meditate in the Word. And this time we're doing an actual Bible reading. But part of the reason I'm doing this is I'm actually creating an audio Bible. I'm creating an audio Bible for my children, actually more their children,
Oh,
because I realize how
oh.
important my voice is. And if there's anything I want them to remember, I want them to remember me reading the Word of God, because I want the Word to be kind of foremost, and I want them to love it because my voice is reading it, right? So anyway, so it's an
Yes.
audio Bible project that I did as a podcast so that I can finish the audio Bible project. So I'm happy to announce that I'm in Matthew. I am making
Already.
progress to the end. I mean, I got through the Old Testament, which is the biggest part of the challenge, and then the rest of the New
Yes.
Testament, which is easier to read, I think, in general, fewer genealogies. But yeah, so that's the big project that I thought I'm focused on this right now. My other 2 podcasts, one of them is called The Clinician Researcher, and that is where I talk to clinicians about how they too can succeed in research. And it's coming back in a few months once I'm done with my Bible project, and it's going to come back actually as the Visionary Clinician, because what I
Oh,
realized is that we have so many dimensions as physicians. Yes, I'm an
yes.
academic physician. Yes, I'm a researcher. Yes, I'm a clinician. Yes, I'm a writer. There's just so many dimensions to me. And so I realized that the clinician researcher is a great dimension, and I want to expand the vision a little bit more. And then the third one I have is called For a Woman of Color in Hematology. And it started as a support system for fellows that I had in my program. And I just encourage people, on that podcast. And that one also is undergoing a reboot. So more to come.
Yay, I'm excited. Because the hematology one time I actually tuned into it and I was like, wait, but this is so inspiring, it just felt like such an inspiration. And I was like, at first I thought that it would be, limited to hematologists, but it wasn't. It would just apply to just about anybody. And I was like, oh, this is great. And by the way, for her 365 audio Bible reading audio podcast, Dr. Toyosi, she has such a soothing voice. Wow. You might be inspired, because I'm also reading the Bible. I'm trying to go read the Bible for the year. And it's much easier for me to listen to an audiobook than to actually flip the pages. So if somebody has the same problem as I do or that I have, be encouraged. I would like to, we'll put the information in the description of this video. So, you can maybe listen to it. And even though Doctor actually created that mostly for her family, hey, I'm grafted in.
Yes, I
And we
will
are.
warn you that I have been told that my voice puts people to sleep as well, which is good. If sometimes I actually will listen to it when I'm trying to fall asleep, and instead of my mind is trying to go in different places and analyze the day, and if I
Yeah.
play it while I'm trying to fall asleep, then it focuses my mind and it helps me fall asleep. So I'm not recommending it so that you fall asleep while listening to the scriptures, but it is soothing. And people have said that they fall asleep sometimes listening.
Well, at least you will be falling asleep peacefully
Yes, definitely.
versus watching like some horror movies or something,
Exactly.
and then, getting that translated into your dreams and being agitated. So what about your books? So we talked about briefly about the miracle of gratitude. What other books do you have going on?
Thank you for asking. So, one of my very first books is a children's book. It's called My Hair is Beauty, and it is an encouragement, especially to women of color and especially to
Yeah.
women who have hair that just feels challenging. And to be honest,
Yes.
it's not a unique thing for women of color. I think in general people struggle with their hair, but it's very specifically written for my daughter. And it was
Oh.
important for me early on in her life to let her know that her hair is beautiful, and for her to have that message and internalize that. So that's that, the children's book, My Hair is Beauty. And then the second book I wrote after that is called Seven Laws of Black Hair. And that was kind of like the companion book to My Hair is Beauty. And it's just to help people think about, how do I care for my hair? I think that for me, growing up as a woman of color, that's not a message that was very spoken about in terms of like
Right.
my own hair and caring for my hair and being proud of my hair. And so it's a message that I want people to hear, and also just to learn strategies for nourishing the hair. I'm not a cosmetologist. I don't even have any special expertise when it comes to doing hair. I can do my hair and my daughter's hair. That's about as far as it gets. But I also realize that it's really about, how do you nurture the gift that you have such that your hair worships. And that's the real goal of the book, is just to say your hair is an instrument of worship, and how will you use it to worship? And
So how
I
do you
think,
use it for worship? I'm
huh?
curious now. How do you use it for worship? I'm curious.
How do you use your hair to worship? Well, first of all, your whole being, your whole body is an instrument of worship. It's a temple of worship,
True.
right?
Yeah.
And your hair is part of that. It's a big part of it, because depending on how you style your hair, you could look different, right?
Yes.
And so it's
I need to feel different.
yes, yes. And it's recognizing that if our maker, our father, gave you this hair, it's like, how will you use this hair that he's given you to bring him glory? And for me, and to be honest, I probably need to write the book Your Hair Worships, because that's really what's on my mind. But it's really
Yes.
about asking him, hey, this thing you gave me, how would you like it to worship you? And part of that is knowing it well, understanding its deficits and its benefits, what helps it
Yes.
thrive. It's kind of being a good steward of it, and then like saying, okay, this is what you gave me, and I'm returning it back to you in this way.
My goodness, like you have so much depth. There's so much depth to you. You're so inquisitive. Like, I mean, I don't know that like in a million years I would have thought, your hair worships. Please write that book. I would love to, I would love
Oh
to read
yes,
it.
it has a companion song as well, which actually I have released at some point. I probably need to re-release it. But yeah, yeah, the whole concept of our hair as an act of worship. And to be honest, people have many, I think hair can be very challenging for many people, and some people have even lost their hair or have had
Yes.
challenges with their hair. But even in that, whether
Hmm.
it feels physically present, we did a, as part of the launch of the book, we did a program, and the men too came out and talked about their challenges with hair. And I think it caused me to pause and say, wait a minute, I thought I wrote this book
Right.
for women and everybody
Yes.
has a hair story. Anyway, so I realized, and then I had people who, who from a distance, they look like they have beautiful, glowing, hair. And they came and said,
Yes.
thank you so much. There's no space to talk about this. These are the challenges I have. And I realized it's really a story that's resonant with so many people, no matter your background.
My goodness. Like I never thought about like men owning up to having hair issues. Except for the
Yeah.
one that I see, maybe that they're balding or something, but I didn't even know it
It's
was a
all of
thing.
it. It's the sensitivity to the balding, the not having
Uh,
space to talk about it. It's, facial hair. It's wearing your hair a certain way and people saying, is that okay? There are a lot
oh
of different
yes.
things for people when it comes to their hair. And there are no real spaces to talk about.
My goodness. So now, Dr. Toyosi, going back to gratitude,
Yes.
how has gratitude, being grateful, changed your life and that of your family members?
It's changed my life particularly because I'm so much more full of joy. Now that I mean I when I was younger, I was such a moody person and not I can't blame the hormones. It's just that everything just seemed bad and I was very focused on all the things that weren't working. And now that I'm
Yes.
so much more focused on the things that are working, I'm full of joy. I just carry joy with me everywhere. And that is contagious. And other people
Yes,
get infected by the joy and it changes their experience too. So it's affected
yes.
me. And in turn, it's affected my family because of all the side effects of gratitude, the joy that it brings.
I love it. So what advice would you leave someone with as far as, leaning more into gratitude than the opposite?
Yeah, I would say that one of the things the scriptures tell us to do is taking every thought captive to obey Jesus. I think that's part of gratitude. Sometimes we're like we can't help the thoughts we have and it's not my fault that this I can't stop thinking about this bad thing. And the truth is that we're in control. We're in control of the thoughts that enter our minds. We're in control of the things we think about. And to the extent to which we're intentional, we can shape our thoughts. And so, like sometimes with my daughter, if I see her feeling sad, I will say, what
Yes.
thoughts are you having right now that's driving the way you're feeling? And
Oh,
and I think it's important. So sometimes people will say, well, we can't all be happy. I've heard that a lot. And the truth is we can if we're choosing to, right? And the question is, what
true.
thoughts am I choosing so that creates the joy that I have? It's not just a thank you. It's not the words. It's the what are the thoughts that are driving the way I'm showing up. And so the more the thoughts tend towards gratitude, the more you can show up as a happy person or a joyous person. And so I think I would say pay attention to your thoughts. You're in charge of your thoughts. Be intentional about what you allow to rest in your mind. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This was so rich. I mean, I know we went in so many directions, but
Thank you for letting me
this
do
was
that.
very invaluable. This was very invaluable. I know that, our audience will truly benefit from this. And especially when we spoke about, not even especially, but there's so many especiallys that, we can, pinpoint like complaining and, taking an inventory of your thoughts and praying and kind of like removing yourself for bad positions or shifting conversations or telling the people about yourself, telling on yourself. It would really help me. I tend to have this weakness. That's slick. I tend to have this tendency to, want to complain, but I'm working on it. So it would really help me if we actually change the conversation. That is slick. I'm going to definitely practice that. And we also talked about, at the end of the day or throughout the day, just, taking an inventory of good things that has happened to you to be grateful for and making time to do it, because that is definitely, you definitely have the tendency to think about the worst things that happen to you versus the good things. So actually sit down and, purposefully actually writing it down, and then it starts flowing. Then we talked about all these other things like your podcast. We talked about the hair and how it can worship. And I'm just very intrigued. So thank you so much, Dr. Toyosi, for stopping by today. Yeah,
It's
this
my
was
pleasure.
really good.
Thank you for having me. And thank you for creating this space where there can be just an abundance of gratitude. It's changing the world. Thank you.
Well, we thank God for that. I'm being blessed. I'm really being blessed because I mean, I too, I'm a part of the audience, and I learn a lot, and I get to apply a lot. I get to hear a lot. I get to be transformed by each one of the people who show up, and I'm very grateful for each one. And so I'm very grateful for you as well. All right. So if somebody wanted to work with you, doctor, how would they be able to find you?
Yeah, so they can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Toyosi Onwuemene. And I am happy to work with you. I especially help clinicians who want more than just a clinical career in their academic environment. And I have group coaching and individual one-on-one coaching available. And yeah, I would love to hear from you.
Wonderful. And also, where could someone find your books and your
I am on
podcast?
Amazon. So if you just look for me as an author, Toyosi Onwuemene, you'll find my books on Amazon. And, or you can, I especially recommend The Miracle of Gratitude. You can search The Miracle of Gratitude. I'm on Amazon for sure.
Wonderful. And what about your podcast? Where can they actually locate
So
to start
any
this?
platform that you listen to podcasts, you can find me. Just search my name and you'll find my podcast. The podcast I am definitely promoting right now is a 365 days of meditation and scripture. Look that up and
Yes,
it will be transformative.
it will be. So thank you so much. All right, everyone. This would be the end of this episode. I know you have been enriched. I hope you have anyway. I have been, I can say for sure. And so thank you. And until we meet next time, you have a blessed day. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Science of Gratitude podcast. If this episode resonated with you, please subscribe, share it, and leave us a review. Your support helps us keep spreading the power of gratitude. And until next time, stay grateful. God bless you.